Hi guys, I'm Mike.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is F1 Fanatics. So guys, it is Wednesday, so that means that it is your weekly dose of F1 Fantasy. And when I say this is Wednesday, actually for us when we are recording this is Sunday, because this is when we can fit in the recording this time. But while trying to get our kind of stats and stuff around from the F1 Fantasy app on this Sunday evening, we found out that the F1 Fantasy app is actually down.
Well, you say Sunday evening. It's kind of just Sunday full stop.
So yeah. We hope by the time we're done, and this is for you listening on a Wednesday, that it might actually be fixed, so you can actually make some adjustments to your team ahead of Singapore Grand Prix. But there has been a fair few technical faults from the F1 Fantasy team this year. But anyway guys, if you are new around here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep up with all the latest content and for more videos just like this. But we should probably get into our Fantasy Weekly. So it is the Singapore Grand Prix this weekend, guys, and so we are going to give a preview of our thoughts of who we think drivers and teams who might perform well at the Singapore Grand Prix this weekend, who we reckon we should turbo, and yeah, I think that's probably, we might add in just a few more fancy. Oh, we're going to look at kind of other street circuit results, so that might kind of influence our decision.
Yeah.
And have I covered everything there, Stephen?
Do you need to explain?
I do. So yes, for you guys who don't play F1 Fantasy, here is a very quick rundown of the game for you. So like Football Fantasy, you have to select players, but unlike Football Fantasy, you also get to select a team, which is your constructor. So you have 5 drivers and 1 constructor to pick within a 100 million budget. On the race weekends, there are a number of ways to score points through qualifying and the race. And you can also lose points if you retire within the race or have disqualifications within that. But basically all those points are added up or taken away at the end of the weekend. And you see whether you've beaten your mates or not. Which I believe for another week I beat you at Monza, didn't I?
Yeah, let's not dwell on that.
Victory to Michael. F1 expert Stephen defeated
Sebastian. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, Sebastian
For the second week in a row, I've still got a gripe with him.
Yep.
Yeah.
You've still got a gripe with...
And now F1 Fantasy is like, no, you can't take him out your team. We're just going to shut it down.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, that is... Yeah. They really didn't like you having to go, maybe Seb has influenced F1 Fantasy and he has taken over.
He was worried about other people transferring him now. So
exactly.
It's like, nah, got to stop this.
It was, actually, the official F1 Fantasy Twitter was saying #save Seb, so maybe, no, that is a lie. I do apologise for that. Anyone going to quickly search Twitter for #save Seb. No, although he has been obviously popular talk of discussion. But yeah, should we talk about who we think is going to do well?
Yeah. Right. So Singapore.
Yep.
Let's start with the main man, Lewis Hamilton.
Yep.
Loves Singapore.
Yeah.
Smashes it in his Mercedes.
I mean, it was a sensational pole lap from him last year as well, wasn't it?
It was insane. And pole is big, street circuit. Mercedes rarely get their strategy wrong. So you imagine if he gets pole again, that's a pole and a win. Lewis is looking good.
So, are you suggesting maybe bringing Lewis?
Possibly, yeah. I feel that's the general vibes I'm giving off. Don't go Seb, go Lewis. But
do you then go Bottas, Verstappen, Mercedes, unless obviously, of course, you are Playtech Superlife who can afford everything?
Yeah, there was it. Lewis, Boas,
Leclerc, Mercedes, Kvyat, Albon.
Yeah. Yeah, if you got that team, just go with that. You don't need us to tell you what to do.
No.
You are God.
You are God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Anyway,
So
but
basically,
yeah, on your Lewis, and you're suggesting to bring in Boas as well and Mercedes. Well, because Boas loves the kind of narrow circuits, Sochi, Azerbaijan. Very good. So yeah, you'd think he'll do well as well. Maybe even challenge Lewis for the win.
I think what we are basically saying here is definitely back Mercedes.
Yeah.
There needs to be some form of Mercedes in your team, and if you can afford it and can manage it, maybe even take a -10 points to get it, I would certainly suggest getting some form of Mercedes in. I have, we'll go through our teams actually at the end of what we're going to do, but I have Bottas and Mercedes for sure. I don't think I could afford Lewis without doing anything too drastic. So yeah, that was my big plan for me.
Yeah. Well, I think Boas has a good chance, you know. Lewis is very good at Singapore, but you can never run off Boas.
I think we've seen it in terms of which makes him a good fantasy pick is Bottas always drives well. Well, he's driven well when he knows he's got job security. So the only time he's kind of weakened this year was really in Hungary and Germany, where obviously Toto Wolff came out with those comments which basically sent the F1 world into meltdown, thinking that Ocon was going to get the seat because they weren't the kindest of words towards
Ocon, Russell, anyone.
Yeah,
one of the youngsters.
It basically seemed that Bottas had no chance. It was like these next two performances will help decide whether he has the seat, and then I think probably Lewis stepped in and went, no, this is stupid, let's keep Bottas. But since then, he has had a very good Spa and Monza, I would agree. Well, Monza, obviously, he got the second place.
He could have got pole in Monza. Monza.
Could have done. He was looking very quick there, and
because he got messed up by the yellow flag in the last sector.
Yeah, well, it was back-to-back podiums for him, wasn't it? It was third and second, which was good.
Yeah.
So strong point scoring performance. So yeah, Mercedes. Get them.
Yep.
Moving on, who else do we think will do well?
So we've done Lewis, Bottas, Mercedes. I think those are your expensive options. Maybe for a cheaper option.
I think one of your other expensive options is probably Max Verstappen.
Yeah. I'm just worried because Red Bull have gone off a bit off the pace.
But Spa and Monza did not suit their car. And Max did have bad races, and Max probably would have maybe even finished on the podium. He certainly would have finished fourth in Spa if he hadn't have curtailed into Kimi Raikkonen.
Bad start, frustration.
And then obviously he took the engine penalty in Monza anyway. So that Spec 4 engine does look quick, and Singapore is certainly a track that does suit the high downforce and more grippy car and cornering car of the Red Bull.
Yeah. Should we look at a couple of the other street circuit results? Those Red Bulls came. So Azerbaijan, we got Max came in fourth. It was Bottas, Lewis, Verstappen.
But there's a lot more straights in Azerbaijan than there are in Singapore.
Yeah, it's a technical circuit though. Technical. Monaco though, he had a very good race. Got unfortunate with the 5-second penalty, which we saw. Who didn't go unpunished later on in the season?
It was Charles Leclerc, wasn't it? Ferrari got a fine from when Leclerc got released. So it seemed Verstappen was very unlucky. He would have finished second in that race, and he was very unlucky not to overtake Hamilton as well. Hamilton had a very good performance to keep him behind. But
so on that basis,
and looking at those actually street circuits as well, it looks like it was a Mercedes, who won both. Well, obviously it was in their kind of dominant start to the season where they won everything. Yeah. But it was, or was it Hamilton in both? I think Bottas won Azerbaijan, didn't
he? Yeah.
Okay.
He does like Azerbaijan.
Right, yeah. And so before I rudely interrupted you to kind of put my maybe Verstappen link in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say the Mercedes are the safer bet. If you can afford Lewis, Boss, Verstappen, go for it.
Superlife, Playtech Superlife, this is going out to you. You could find a way.
Verstappen, Boss, I guess.
Well, I presume he could take out Albon and put in Norris and have like Bottas, Verstappen, Hamilton, and Mercedes. I mean, that would be an absolutely you might as well, if you were in a league and you had that lineup, you might as well just say, "It's all right, guys, I've won."
Yeah, just never look at it for the rest of the season. Look at the end, you're first place in the world. You're like, yeah, saw that coming.
Brilliant. So yeah, cheaper options. Here we go.
Cheaper. Well, McLaren. You got to say McLaren. Maybe haven't had the best couple last races with reliability. Norris went out last lap in Spa. Sainz had a loose wheel in Monza. And
probably would have finished minimum 6th.
Yeah.
And so obviously, and Norris was running 5th in Spa, and obviously those were two tracks that they weren't expecting to do well at anyway.
Yeah, and if you look at Monaco, Sainz came in 6th.
I think the technical circuits McLaren have performed well in. So
yeah,
McLaren obviously not as a constructor, but as a driver, getting one of Sainz or Norris, probably Sainz if you can afford him. Although I know he has gone up to 10.2 million now because he has been so consistent pre the summer break. So Norris, if you are struggling for funds, Norris might be your bargain buy to get you some good points.
Yeah.
One team also to probably look out for is probably Racing Point and Sergio Perez.
Definitely. Yeah.
He has had a couple of really good point scoring finishes in the last 2 races. And they are bringing a big aero package to Singapore that they're quite excited about. And plus, Lawrence Stroll, now that obviously he's had time to invest his money in, I think we're now starting to see the fruits of that. And Racing Point have been a team that kind of performed well within its means when they didn't have massive amounts of money before. Now they've got a billionaire just kind of bankrolling them.
Yeah.
I feel this could end quite well for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be a good second half of the season.
Yeah, so I've got Sergio Perez, and I'm quite keen to keep him there. I think this certainly will be a good judge of how they will now go on for the rest of the season. Obviously, they've had good 2 tracks which they were expected to do well. If they can do well at Singapore as well, I think they'll have a very strong end to the season, and Sergio Perez could be a very consistent point scorer.
Yeah, and if you look at Azerbaijan, I know there's more straight, but Perez came in 6th, best of the rest. So yeah, he's looking a good bet.
Looking a very good bet. More of the cheaper option. Now, I would say some people you might want to look to get rid of, who you might have brought in for the last couple of races, especially if you brought him in last week out in Monza. Obviously, the Renault's paid off big time at Monza, but I don't think they're going to do well at Singapore.
What makes you say that?
Well, I think they've got a very good engine and power unit that was quick, but I don't think their aero package is good, and I don't think they're bringing an upgrade. So they've struggled in circuits. Obviously, they qualified and they did well in Canada, which obviously isn't as much as a power track as what Monza is, but you can say it's obviously got those long straights to kind of power through that would benefit its power unit more. And they qualified well. Ricciardo qualified well there as well as obviously doing in Monza. So I just think Singapore's too technically, and I don't think their aero package is as good as the other midfield competitors. So I think they may even finish both outside the points this weekend.
But they have got a very good driver in Ricciardo.
They have.
Who can deal with those technical circuits.
He can, but qualifying is so important. And his biggest asset is he can make his way through a field, but there really isn't many places to overtake at Singapore.
Yeah. I think they could get into Q3. I think a top 10 finish is definitely on for Renault.
Okay. Ricardo out of it, because I'd expect Hulkenberg's performances to drop off now, as obviously it's difficult to invest in a team that you've been thrown out of, and also they won't be investing time in him, a bit like Red Bull were with Ricardo at the back end of last year, when he was obviously moving on to Renault. When it's announced this early, it's probably a very cold place to be as a driver.
Who knows, he may be a Haas driver come round to Singapore.
Yes.
But if he's already guaranteed a seat somewhere else, doesn't really need to show up for his current team.
Exactly.
Especially as they've kicked him out for a youngster.
Yeah.
So yeah, be interesting.
It certainly is. If you have a Hulkenberg, I would definitely jump ship on him. Also, we'll give a reminder, if you've got a Haas driver or a Haas team, probably looking at you, Katie. I mean, there's probably no rational discussion to this, as Kevin Magnussen is your favourite driver. But yeah, if you do have a Haas driver, please get rid of them.
That's your advice. Just Haas, get rid of.
For your own sanity.
End the podcast there.
Yeah, I think for your own sanity, I mean, Haas themselves have probably written off this season and just gone, you know what, guys, we'll try again next year. With how bad they've been on a Sunday, and I can't see them doing well at Singapore.
The technical track.
No.
Yeah, you can't really see them going into Q3, and then if you don't get to Q3, you're out of the question. Because that's what you got to be thinking about, who's getting into Q3, and you can't see either Magnussen or Grosjean getting in there.
No, you can't. Is there any more recommendations we reckon?
Well, so we said McLaren's a good shout.
Yep.
Renault.
You were. I was.
Yeah, I was Ricciardo. Maybe a shout.
Racing Point. Yeah.
Ones to watch. Yeah.
Oh, I suppose we haven't really spoken about Alpha.
Yeah, that's the one we're missing.
Alpha. I think it all depends on which Kimi Raikkonen turns up.
He's had a few dodgy races.
Yeah, Giovinazzi's done well the past couple of races, but I don't expect him to do well here.
No, he's a risk. You want to go for an experienced driver lineup.
Yeah, I don't think Kimi would be a good bet here.
No, it would be a gamble.
Yeah, I think Alpha and Haas, as well as obviously Williams, because I don't think Russell's worth his early season benefit that he was.
Too expensive now.
I think those are the three teams you want to stay well clear of. As well of, we haven't really mentioned them, Ferrari. Ferrari will not do well here.
Bail.
You do not have anything Ferrari-related for Singapore. What Charles Leclerc go and win 3 races bounce to bounce and somehow win at Singapore? Because he had the pace at Azerbaijan, didn't he? But like I said, there were kind of more straights in Azerbaijan that can benefit that Ferrari car.
If you just look at the rest of the races, you don't really want a Ferrari in there. Singapore, Russia is Mercedes. Who does?
I think me and Asher said it. The only one that I would say potentially they could sneak a podium is Mexico, because there is such that long straight at the start, and it's something your power unit could come into play. And obviously the Mercedes might struggle in the altitude.
Could be a Charles Leclerc getting in amongst Max. Could be another Charles Max fight there.
Could be very true. But yeah, I think as in a preview of our rounds up of do's and don'ts of the Singapore Grand Prix, I think that covers it. And
Ferrari out, Haas out.
yes, that is in simple terms. And Mercedes.
Mercedes.
But I suppose we don't get any awards for backing Mercedes in a season that they've done incredibly well in.
Yeah. Go expensive for Mercedes, cheap out on McLaren is probably your safe bets.
Yeah.
McLaren drivers, not team.
Yeah. No, don't go for the team. Don't do that. I think probably next one to discuss is turbo driver choice.
Turbo driver.
I'm going to go easy with my one, and the only guy I can see, he has been a good turbo choice in the past. Actually, it's between two for me.
Okay.
It's between either the best one to have over the past two races, which is Alex Albon, or going back to Carlos Sainz, who was the previous best to have before the summer break.
Alright. Not going to throw Perez in there?
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Too much of a gamble.
I think he will do well, but he won't do better than Sainz or Albon.
See, with Albon, I feel like Singapore's an experienced race.
And he doesn't have it.
Albon, he could turn up. He's shown he's very mature and he can show up for these races.
But the F2 don't drive at Singapore, so he's never driven there before.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's ever driven there before. If someone knows he has, pull me up on it. But I'm convinced he certainly hasn't driven there in anywhere near the machinery of an F1 car before.
Well, his first wet race, he finished... Where did he finish in Germany?
Sixth.
Sixth? Very good result.
It was. So, yeah, he's proven he can step up, and like I said, he's been a very good turbo bet because he's that cheap guy and he's one of the top three teams that you can turbo.
Yeah. I would be tempted with Ricciardo.
Right.
He's my Renault thing.
Is this because...
and I'm just going because he's experienced. He can... If the Renault can give him something, I think he can make the most of it. Get far in qualifying. Get some good points. Be a good turbo cam.
I mean, if Renault have brought any sort of updates to Singapore, there's not going to be a point in this season, I think, that Daniel Ricciardo is going to be on higher confidence going into a race.
Yeah.
So he could be a outside guess that could be a very good turbo choice.
Yeah. But I think Sainz is a good bet. I know he's had a couple of off races, but yeah.
He's definitely one to return to there. I think we both think McLaren are going to do well here. And Carlos Sainz is very good.
He has experience. He's shown it. Consistency. He'll get you a good result. I think he could get into qualifying, Yeah.
Yeah. I actually think Lando might struggle here. Out of
like
McLaren's.
Albon, I just don't want to touch any of the rookies.
Yeah.
For Singapore.
And it is such a physically and mentally demanding race because it is so humid and it is the most technical circuit on the F1 calendar.
And it's a night race as well.
Yeah. So you've got all those things basically compounding to go, which I feel might actually be Lando Norris's reaction. just his radio thing of what F1 release after the race will just be like a hour and a half constant of Lando going I
loved there was a moment in Monza. Did you see because they released the team radio thing?
Yeah.
One of his was stop talking to me whilst I'm racing or something.
I was like, all right, Kimi Raikkonen in disguise over there. Sorry, someone's trying to get themselves a meme.
So what time are they meant to talk to you? You're racing around the whole thing.
Brilliant. Yeah. So there you go. Inopportune moments to talk to a driver while they're racing. I know it was discussed in the 2021 rules to maybe limit the amount of radio chat. Lando Norris is clearly
Just wants it cut out.
was a clear
He
fan
doesn't
of
want to know anything
nothing.
about the car.
and then just wants everyone to expect him to know when he's coming to pit. Guys, I knew when I was going to pit. The message would have been nice, Lando. Oh wait, you got rid of those. But yeah, that rounds up Turbo. So probably looking ahead to this weekend. And should we go through your team first, Stephen? Who you've picked and who you might not have made your substitutions yet, but you can at least talk us through what you think you're going to do.
Yeah, so my current lineup is...
And remember, Stephen is the F1 expert here on F1 Fantasy. A slight disclaimer for you all, Stephen does not take any personal responsibility for failures within your F1 Fantasy team.
Yeah.
Please do not come for us.
Wait, could I sabotage everyone if I give them bad advice?
I suppose that could work.
Then the disclaimer, my hands are clean.
I'm not entirely sure whether we have that much influence.
Yeah, no.
But I like to think so. So yes, you can sabotage everyone. But what we actually mean is you're going to benefit everyone.
Yes. Yes. Okay, I'll run through my current team because I haven't made any changes. So I'd like to talk it through. So at the moment I got Leclerc, Vettel, Ferrari as my big expensive ones.
Bad move.
Yeah. And then I've got Sainz, Albon, Ricciardo. I'm happy with those three. I'm keeping those three. Because I'm probably going to turbo Ricciardo. As you may have, there's a current theme going through this video that I'm pro Ricciardo and Renault for.
Do you like Ricciardo, Stephen?
Yeah. I do actually. How did you know?
I don't know. I've just got a gut feeling.
But to be fair, of any of those three, I may turbo depending on how practice goes.
Yeah.
So the question is, what do I do with the Reds?
Do you have a wild card?
No, because I wildcarded 2 weeks in a row.
So
it was before Hungary and then I think before Spa.
So I think you're looking at a -10 or a -20.
No, I'm not going -20. That would be bold.
Play bold.
Because -10's a lot of points to lose.
I would agree with you there, Stephen. I can confirm -10 is a lot of points to lose.
Was it Monza? There was only about 6 points separating second, third, and fourth in our fantasy league.
I think so, yeah.
Monza or Spa?
Or is at least Spa?
Yeah. There is Spa, yeah. So -10 drops you out of running. So yeah, I'm thinking Vettel gone, Ferrari gone. Mercedes in. And I'm not sure how much money I have left.
I would expect Bottas, probably.
Bottas or Lewis. Bless you.
Sorry, sneeze there. I hope you can't get infected on the other end of a microphone.
Yeah, so my team would look like Lewis or Bottas. I'll be optimist. No, because I have to go expensive on Ferrari. Bottas, Leclerc, Albon, Ricciardo, Sainz, Mercedes. -10 here.
I think it has to be done.
Yeah. Like I was saying last week, I kind of messed up in Spa, going full Ferrari didn't exactly pay off, and now I'm obviously having to pay the consequences. But yeah.
You play bold, and you regret playing bold.
Well, I don't regret it, you know?
No, life's not full of regrets.
The play bold strategy. I had my fun, and now
You went all in on a hand. You could have doubled up.
Seb forgot how to manage tyres, and then he forgot how to properly return to the track.
I think he just forgot how to race.
Yeah.
That might be a safer conclusion.
Yeah, probably across both of them he forgot how to race.
Yeah. I mean, as you can tell, him highlighting Seb again.
It's my two key words this episode: Ricardo and Seb.
Yeah, the wound has cut deep, and we're not sure when this wound may heal. Seb, you've got a lot of making up to do. Hey, maybe a Ferrari hat. No, don't give it to me.
No,
a race win might do.
If he wins in Singapore, could you imagine? Ferrari come out with a massive upgrade, Seb just storms it, smashes the race. He's like, the best points the entire season.
Comes out, that one's for you, Stephen. I took you out of my team. I hate you. Right.
I don't think I'd be on next week's fantasy if that happened. I would just refuse. That'd be me.
Yeah, okay then. Well, that would leave me finding another F1 fantasy host.
Yeah.
I think I'm running out of options quickly here. I'm starting to think it's me.
No, it's Seb. It's Seb.
It's Seb. I don't know what Seb did to Zach, but it cut deep.
Zach went heavy on Ferrari at the start of the season.
He did. So Seb keeps hurting
recovered.
people. Seb, you've got to stop this. All right, you're a nice bloke, I think, but you've got to stop this. You're hurting F1 fantasy players, and they don't like it. In particular, my show hosts. Right, my team. So I have Sergio Perez, Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon as my cheap trio, which means the only difference between us is the Sergio Perez, and I do believe that Sergio Perez will outperform Daniel Ricciardo. I know that will hurt your feelings as you're a big Danny Rick fan this weekend, and probably in general, quite like him.
Yeah. Perez, I wish I kept Perez, because I took out Perez for Ricciardo, and I could have just taken out a Ferrari boy for...
Yeah, but I've got
Ricciardo.
Perez. And, like I said, it will be between Albon and Sainz who I turbo there. I feel it will very much determine how practice goes before I make my decision on that. Then my big boys, I had Bottas, kept him. He's been a pretty much mainstay for the majority of the season for me, being a pretty good point scorer.
Yeah.
And also got rid of Leclerc. Brought in Max Verstappen, did that straight after the race because I didn't want Max Verstappen's price going up. So got him as cheap as I possibly could, which I think was about 26.2 mil. Because I just think Red Bull and Max Verstappen for the rest of the season are going to have a really strong finish.
Yeah.
And then I've got Mercedes as constructor, so pretty strong.
Yeah, because obviously you're not just looking at Singapore, you're looking at the rest of the season now. With who you want to bring in, because you can only have one free transfer a week.
Yeah, to be a good F1 fantasy player, you've got to look at the bigger picture rather than just the race weekend.
And Red Bull, you want to get a driver in. I'm keeping Albon as my Red Bull driver.
I've gone double bull.
Yeah.
And I've gone double Merc, kind of, in the cheapest possible
Team Red
way.
Bull as well?
No.
What about...
I'm not Ashley.
Has he gone triple Red Bull?
I think he might have gone triple Red Bull.
You never go triple Red Bull, Ashley.
Never.
No.
You go triple Renault at Monza.
Triple Renault. It was the tip.
I mean, I think it was only a tip.
Everyone predicted it, and everyone was like, go triple Renault. And then last week we were like, yeah, our prediction came off.
I mean, it was your first show last week.
Okay. Okay.
So I suppose we don't have any proof to say that you didn't say it.
See?
So he definitely said it.
The only problem is I didn't go triple Renault. So
no.
I think that really supports me.
But you couldn't afford it.
I went Ricciardo.
You did. Danny Rick.
God, I love Danny Rick.
You love Danny Rick. Right, so that's our team there, and I think that probably, because usually we would round off the F1 Fantasy Weekly podcast with a Kimi moment of the week, but I don't think, because it's been a very quiet week, there hasn't really much been going on in terms of drivers or anything, especially Alfa Romeo, and obviously it was probably a race that they wanted to forget for Kimi Raikkonen at Monza. It was just kind of a picture on Instagram of him factory day in deep discussion with a mechanic. I suppose it was maybe just saying, where was the ward there? I told you guys to move it. Alright, Kimi. We've told you we can't move the walls.
Poor Kimi.
Nah, he's alright. Kimi will be back stronger. He'll have a great season. Yeah, we just said he wouldn't.
Eventually, that was one of the things of do not Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, that was there.
But it's a technical circuit.
He's going to have a good race at some point in the last 7 races, and he will still give us a Kimi moment of the week for next week.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what you guys want, maybe. That's what we definitely want.
Yeah. Kimi moment of the week.
Kimi moment of the week to just round off.
Yeah.
But yeah. So guys, that is it. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and you can click that bell notification to keep up to date with all our latest content, and keep up with all your F1 fantasy content every Wednesday with me and Stephen.
Just remember, Haas out, Ferrari out, Mercedes in.
Yeah.
For Singapore.
And if you disagree with the F1 expert in Stephen,
you're probably right. I mean, sorry, no. Yeah.
You're wrong.
yeah, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
I've got Sebastian Vettel in my team. How can I possibly wrong at anything?
Yeah. If you disagree with me, you can also comment below. In fact, just comment below on anything. Maybe F1 fantasy related. That probably should stick to the theme.
Yeah.
But yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, there's only one way to round off our F1 Fanatic show, and that is you F1 fans keep racing.